Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day. So far, loads of drama going on in the COD scene at the present time, chief among which being the Warzone versus CDL drama that continues to rampage on. Scump actually defending Methodz though, despite the fact that he got roasted pretty hard for that 1v1 defeat to Biffle, Warzone player of course, but also Censor coming at FormaL's neck, and FormaL responds in pretty entertaining fashion. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you are new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel. Thanks very much indeed for doing that one. As I say, plenty to discuss. Firstly, Rostermania. Didn't get a chance to talk about it earlier today. Potential updates on this front that might well happen tonight or tomorrow or whenever. So Rockers say good morning to all the teams that announced their rosters. Minnesota, well, Mutinists, say good morning in reply. So maybe they're going to announce something sooner rather than later. We shall see. We don't really know what their team's going to be. I honestly think they're going to still leave it quite some time. The team I would expect to kind of announce something relatively soon would be the New York Subliners and also the Boston Breach. So Skies apparently has signed a deal, at least according to this contract signing thing. I guess we'll see about that. But we believe Skies, Hydra, Kismet +1. The present rumor is it's going to be Priest over the New York Subliners. Interesting team. Not sure I love it, but you know, it could be okay. There's a lot of good teams that of course in the league right now. And even as Sky says, duo queuing with Hydra, kind of confirming like, you know, we see this usually from players that they won't exactly confirm their team with this guy. We've known for some time that Skies and Hydra were going to be the kind of AR slaying SMG duo on this New York Subliners roster, even before the whole Hydra to Optic thing was potentially on the table, right? So that is probably going to indeed be a thing. And this also in Boston, they tweeted out that they were like 6% loading, and then it was 93% loading, so I don't really know what's going on here. But I mean, yeah, .exe I thought was kind of interesting just because the whole talk about Awakening was when he came into the league that he was like this cheater guy, and Crimsix was like, yo, this guy's cheating, but then he said, no, he's not actually cheating, like, you know, word.exe or whatever. So I don't know if that's at all related, or whether they're going to come up with some sort of meme to that effect. But yeah, regardless of the situation, we believe it's going to be Awakening, Methodz, TJHaLy of course is gone, and then Vivid and Nero being the SMG duo. So that's what we expect, maybe announced relatively soon. Of course, I will keep you guys updated. Hit the red button if you haven't already. Let's talk then about the Warzone CDL drama type stuff, because if you guys missed this one, Methodz, of course, in the first matchup really between CDL pros and Warzone pros in a 1v1, they played Bakaj, they played Dome, just a normal free-fall with Radar on. Like, Radar on free-falls aren't exactly going to be the best test of skill. They are a test of a very specific type of skill. Like, I'm looking at the mini-map, for example, pre-firing, stuff like this. It's a very different skill set necessarily to what you need to play competitive Call of Duty on the CDL at the high level. Comms, rotations, game knowledge, all this type of stuff. Of course, shooting straight isn't something that you'd be surprised that some of the Warzone guys can do. Now, there was meant to be a tourney going on that I mentioned for you guys, CDL versus Warzone, this Thursday. He then tried to move it up to Wednesday, Hitch did. Now, he had 4 Warzone captains ready to go, but only 1 CDL captain. I think that might have been Doug. Now, I think a lot of this was because the pro players don't really want to play this, or really, I guess they feel like they have nothing to gain by playing it, maybe. I think the idea was it was going to be like playing on Modern Warfare, but they'd have to dive into some Warzone games, and the CDL pros don't necessarily have anything to gain. It's a shame this didn't happen, though, to be honest, because it would have been the perfect time for it to drop. But I guess the CDL pros thought, I don't really want to play Warzone against these Warzone guys, and like, obviously, the Warzone pros have everything to gain, and the CDL pros have everything to lose, so, you know, I guess it kind of makes sense why it wouldn't necessarily happen, but there was money on the line, so still kind of surprised this didn't go forward. But yeah, seemingly the CDL players weren't particularly down, and maybe they could have done it if it was just search and destroy only, right? And then maybe both sides could have agreed on doing it, but I mean, yeah, for whatever reason, they couldn't really come to an agreement here on finding a format that would work for both parties, so they're going to postpone it for now and do one at the start of Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 in a couple of months' time, which hopefully will be much better. Maybe they can do it on LAN or something, who even knows. So yes, Hitch says, postponing CDL versus Warzone tourney. The timing isn't right currently. I guess they couldn't figure out the format that people were happy with. Kind of a shame it didn't go forward, but it is what it is. Maybe further 1v1s to come over the coming days between the CDL and the Warzone guys, and maybe they can find another format which is a little bit better, because I think like any sort of 4v4 action in Search and Destroy, for example, would even hardpoint, right, even though that should give an advantage to the CDL guys because it's what they're familiar with, like, you know, but I think the actual idea was, I think the theoretical initial concept from the Warzone guys that were talking trash was like, yeah, we're just straight up better than you, we can challenge you on your game and win. So I feel like really it should be about the Warzone guys coming into 4v4 hardpoint and giving the CDL guys a run for their money. We'll see about that one, like, but actually, as Hitch says, Cold War throwback tourney instead, maybe not. That'd be exciting to see, especially with some Cold War rosters, right? If Optic Chicago reforms, that'd be pretty funny. I did also see Pred saying on stream that, like, look, if they put a team together of Dashie, Cellium, Shotzzy, and Pred, like, he could give the Warzone guys 150 point handicap in hardpoints and then still take them down. Now, I mean, look, we'll see about that. Hopefully that happens, but Pred's back in Australia right now, so the ping might not be ideal. Of course, Methodz is getting roasted of losing that 1v1, right? Methodz says, I failed this city, and even Brian says the coach of Minnesota Rocker, no players on Rocker would have lost that, but you tried your best, and that's all that matters. Now, in fairness, Scump comes to the rescue here. I guess that Methodz sent him a couple of quid or something to put this tweet up, right, to defend your boy. But as he says, there's no shot we're using radar on 1v1s on Vanguard as a test of skill, right? So, like, I'm saying that effectively these radar on 1v1s on Vanguard, especially of all games, don't really matter in terms of a skill test, right, in terms of how good players are, which I do think is absolutely bang on the money. Then again, it is a test of a very specific set of skills, I suppose you could argue, and also it's kind of difficult, as I said yesterday, to come up with a good way to actually judge, like, between the two player types, right? Because as I said, I think the idea was the Warzone guys thought they could maybe come in and give the CDL guys a run for their money on their own game modes, but like, if you're trying to really balance between Warzone, CDL, like, what do you play that gives a good idea of how good the players are on a kind of raw level without giving an advantage to one team or another, potentially? So it's always a bit of a weird one. So like, maybe the 1v1s are valid to a certain extent, but I think full radar on is a bit questionable. Maybe it should be just waving radar or something. I think that would be a better thing to see. But, you know, Methodz, it's good to see the self-deprecating humor come through, because Methodz, in fairness to him, is not exactly, like, look, he's got a lot of strengths as a player. He's also got some weaknesses as a player, and one of those is that he's generally not the best player in 1 versus 1 situations. Of course, this is the classic Black Ops 4 Skies versus Methodz 1 versus 1 that didn't necessarily go so well for him, and even in recent times, you know, Methodz in a 1 versus 1 is not necessarily his strongest position, let's just say. So putting him in this 1v1, honestly, he was kind of doomed to fail, some might argue. And even as Prince says, oh, trust me, brother, we wouldn't have sent you out there if we knew that, you know, you were obviously the 1v1 demon. So, yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. Scump coming to the rescue, but Methodz just kind of still roasting himself regardless. And this, I think, was part of the issue, actually, as Simp says. I don't know who had the mental to reinstall the game. Gotta tip it, though, right? I will not speak on this. I loved Vanguard, says Scump. Kind of implying that, yes, Scump, that was uninstalled immediately. Simp uninstalled it immediately as well, as did aBeZy. So, I mean, yeah, these guys aren't exactly going to be able to come to the rescue here of the COD scene, because that game has been long uninstalled. So, I mean, yeah, I guess they're going to wait for the next game, and I think that's probably the best time to do it, really, especially when, let's say, when Warzone 2 comes out, then to do a tourney when it's across Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2, like with the CDL pros versus the Warzone pros, probably makes sense, because at that point, the Warzone pros won't have all the knowledge about the meta, and the CDL pros won't have all the knowledge about the hardpoint meta and rotations and stuff. So, you know, maybe that's the time to do it, to kind of test raw skill to a certain extent. Of course, we know who's going to win if that's the case, especially if the CDL guys actually do put together that god squad of, like, I mean, yeah, Dashy, Cell, Shotzi, and Pred would be a scary lineup, there's no doubt. Now, things were maybe going to actually keep on going last night, because Scrappy actually says to Repulsor, get your best Warzone shooter, I'll put up 1k, let's finish this debate, right? So Scrappy is not afraid to chill anyone, he's always ready for the smoke, and I mean, yeah, pretty funny, really, because people are loving Scrappy just, you know, going hard right now, but I'm sure when Scrappy's talking trash to your favourite team next season, it's not going to be so fun. But I'm looking forward to having this guy in the league. Of course, I think Toronto did drop Cammy for good reason, in effect, because they wanted to bring Scrappy in. Will it come back to bite them? Who knows? Because Scrappy, rather different personality, you could argue, to some of those other guys on the Ultra team. I think it's going to take some good coaching over there to make sure that yeah, their mentality and their team chemistry works as intended. But of course, Scrappy does have a rather high skill ceiling, and so far he's done rather well in these 1 versus 1 chals. Even Tim the Tapman as well was on stream kind of saying that, like, yeah, look, these CDL pros versus Warzone pros debate is not really relevant, because people in this chat were saying that, like, CDL pros would have a harder time converting to Warzone than the other way around. And he was like, yeah, lads, sorry, you're faded, unfortunately. It is definitely the other way around. Let's talk about some more drama that I thought was kind of funny here from FormaL. So, well, he tweets at Censor, that's kind of screwed up, mate, and then Doug replies. This was the tweet, actually, that Doug came up with here that got deleted rather quickly, actually. I guess he tweeted this and immediately thought, you know, this is going to have to bite me. Or he thought, I'll just tweet this and someone will screenshot it and then I'll, like, you know, delete it immediately and still get it talked about in a video. But, I mean, yeah, this is what he says. All this talk about me dropping 7 kills in an 8 lobby, I guess, was it an 8 lobby or was it 10 lobby? It doesn't really matter. But I watched FormaL drop 4 kills to lose on LAN, and he drops the ha ha ha. So this, I think, is about FormaL on, I mean, one of the Halo events, right, recently, I think he had 4 kills or 4 in 15 or whatever he wants in, like, the final map, or one of the maps in the series. I think he dropped 4 kills on LAN in something in Halo. Different story in Halo to Call of Duty in a way, because in Halo there's generally less kills to acquire, especially in certain game modes. But yeah, okay, FormaL dropped 4 kills, whatever, like, you know, it's not really the end of the world. But in fairness, the Doug thing, the whole Doug 7, like, that is a meme that still lives on. So I gotta understand Censor's frustration that people still talk about the 7 kills and don't talk about the FormaL 4 kills, but it is what it is to a certain extent. And I mean, yeah, FormaL's like, yeah, that's messed up, that's why I deleted it, too out of pocket, I was just trolling, bro, you're chilling. Gotta check myself, not gonna lie, I can get carried away. So yeah, Doug tweeted this, realised it probably wasn't worth it and ended up deleting it, but thought it was pretty funny to mention regardless, because yeah, good tweet from Doug, as per usual, going hard. Few other things to mention actually here before we close out the video. Firstly, like, well, people were, I think even it was Nature talking about this, is anyone actually happy on these apps and stuff? We talked about that drama, of course, earlier on today. This was pretty funny though from Methodz to Slasher, because as Slasher says, I'm happy, hope you're happy, Zid. Oh yeah, you couldn't be happier, right? So Slasher, of course, loving life right now, and understandably so, given the fact that FaZe have effectively blessed him to a certain extent. Of course, he's earned the blessing to a certain degree, because how many other like ARs were there out there that Arcitys could realistically have been replaced with that actually would have been upgrades? Few and far between, especially if you want a leadership type player, and also a player that's good at search and destroy, which could be a key kind of attribute to Slasher's kind of performance right here. And especially if you look at these numbers, right? So put this on the big screen for you guys, because Lionman's been coming out with these cards. This is Slasher's overall record this season. It's kind of crazy that we're 15 and 21 despite winning an event this year. But yeah, he gets the 87 overall. Now, you can't really look into this number too much, because this number is effectively, this number comes from, like, he doesn't just make this number out of his head. It comes from the stats, but I think it's quite highly weighted in terms of damage and engagement compared to other players in that position, I think is the way it works. So if you have good damage and engagements compared to most other ARs, then you're looking pretty good. So I guess that's I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it considers factors like that. But yeah, look at the search and destroy here, right? To control hardpoint, pretty standard stuff, but the search was pretty spectacular. And I think honestly, this even he gets the 97 here and it's silver. I'm guessing this should have been green or even purple here for this first blood rate, because that has got to be one of the best first blood rates in the entire league, right? 61 kills to 26 deaths in terms of first blood rates, kind of similar to what Crimsix had last year, which is pretty stunning numbers, like incredibly high kills per round, incredibly high damage per round. So yes, the search and destroy is an interesting feature here of Slasher's game, because he was so good at that game mode this season, and FaZe pretty much had enough slaying, especially in hardpoint and also in control. I mean, Simp is a demon in control, we know that for quite some time. We'll look at his numbers here in a second, but yeah, their search and destroy compared to FaZe's, at least compared to their Cold War search and destroy, was definitely lackluster. So maybe they thought, okay, Slasher for Arcitys, that should be a key upgrade in that mode, one might potentially argue. Scump's numbers as well, actually, I think I'll just bring this up on the big screen. These were Scump stats. He gets the 80 overall. His search and destroy was okay this year, not quite as good as it was in Cold War, but you know, still some good stats on the whole. This also from Shotzzy, right? Got to give Shotzzy some credit here, because he also had a very high, I mean, honestly, he had one of the best search and destroy years you're going to find from an SMG player, right? He gets the 90 overall, and yes, there was some recency bias here because Shotzzy wasn't so good at the end of the season, but including like the entirety of the year, like Shotzi's numbers were still pretty absurd, especially his search and destroy. Like, he was an absolute demon in that mode, finding the first bloods. Even though his like first blood ratio isn't crazy, the impact he had when he did get a first blood was pretty ridiculous. And Simp also gets a 90, right? And this is kind of incredible, because this is Simp, I think, so far in his career, by far Simp's worst year as a player. But I mean, still, he has like, his numbers still look rather good indeed. And if he bounces back to be even better next year, then I'm sure Slasher's going to be even happier than he already is. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. Tells the YouTube gods it's a good video. I was like, you should see it as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.
What do you do?
Alright, I'm good to go.
All set, let's go, baby. Come on.
Well, we gotta wait on Don to get back.
Yeah.
Radios.
Yeah, look at my chest. Did you really scam for those pro points?